What's up, everybody, and welcome down to another probably insightful episode of Zetro's Toxic Vault. I'm your host, Steve Zetro Souza. Alongside me, my longtime partner in crime, Mr. Walter Morgan. What's up, Walt?
Here we are, episode 2.
Well, I guess episode 2. Like, we never used to count them in the past because we did so many. So I don't know if we're going to...
Well, things are changing this year, right? Things are going to evolve through this.
Yeah.
So
we'll have much more time to do this as, again, we already
it's going to be more of a worldwide thing.
Another episode kind of already. So, and some things have happened since that last episode with myself. So, I guess we're
going to lead right into that.
We could go into that. So I was approached by this young man, and he asked me if I was interested in doing kind of like a festival in Iowa in October. I should know the name of it, but I don't.
Upcoming festival.
An upcoming festival, anyway. And I thought about it, and I says, what do you mean me? And he's like, we'll play backing songs, back you up, him and his band. And so I listened to his band. He's got a good band, and I was like, yeah, okay. One show went off. Again, I don't want to tour. I don't want to get in a tour bus, but I'm not opposed to going out and, playing songs from my rapport that I've done. I've played in many, many bands, so, there's been so many things I can do. So I agreed to do that. So we'll see again, all of this stuff, if it materializes, I'll be great with it. I'm
at a high level.
If it's cool, obviously. So then he got a hold of me and said, hey, there's this guy in South America that wants to bring you down there. And so he kind of made a not a written deal, just kind of a verbal deal. And it was something that I was like, yeah, if we could do that, I'll definitely, I'm cool with it. I'll go down there. And he wanted to do it in August and September. Now, before I could even approve anything, Cody, my son, the next day sends me a message and says, hey, Dad, did you see this? And shows me a poster, and it's got like the Tempo of the Damned album cover. It says Zetrodus. It's got Exodus's logo and Testament's logo and Hatriot's logo on there. And I went, whoa. I go, well...
That's the way they do it down south, though, right down there.
I said I agreed to do this, but I didn't, I didn't see this. I didn't approve this. So, but you know what? I was not like pissed off. Like, God damn it! Why did that? Because if we go, we go, kind of a thing. So I just want to be honest with you guys up front. South America has a lot of moving parts, especially you guys in South America. I didn't see any dates. All I seen is a poster, and it says I'm coming. I haven't seen any dates, so I'll believe this when I see it. Again, I'm not opposed to not doing it. 5 or 6, 7 dates in South America. I love going to South America. You guys are the greatest crowd. You know that. That's why everybody does live videos from Santiago, Chile, or Buenos Aires, or Sao Paulo, because they're so crazy. Bogota, And so I'm cool with that. But again, there's a lot of things involved to get it going. Again, there's a lot of moving parts to South America. So am I going to do this? Probably, because it fits my schedule. You know what I mean? I can do it at my own discretion. And I could play songs.
And we're not talking about a tour on top of a tour on top. No, this is like one little small tour, maybe.
Not even. I mean, if we're doing more than 5 or 6 dates, too long. I mean, I'll go to the East Coast and hit up 5 or 6 dates. I'll go to Florida and do that. I'm not jumping in a tour bus again, unless the tour bus, it's just me, my wife, and my pugs. And I just don't think that the type of music that I make is going to be able to afford me to take my own tour bus out on that. And I don't want to do that anymore.
Let's address the future and that poster also. I saw Zetrodus, but that is not correct.
No, it shouldn't be Zetrodus. It's only Zetro. And that guy again.
So it's going to be plain Zetro.
It's just Zetro. It's not the Zetro band. Not Steve. I mean, obviously Steve Zetro, but it's just going to be Zetro. You know what I mean? Dio, Zetro, real simple.
Okay.
I
like
Ozzy,
it. I like
simple.
it.
You know what I mean?
Who doesn't know if they see Zetro that's not seeing Zetro Souza?
A lot of people won't know, but it's just like unless you know who I am or you know my music. and I'm cool with that.
We didn't know Ronnie James Dio. Maybe back we heard Dio.
Well, we knew. Some of us did.
I did.
The band wasn't called Ronnie James Dio. It was called Dio.
Right.
Even Ozzy. It's Ozzy Osbourne, but everybody said, "Were you going to see?" Oh, dude, I'm going to Ozzy Saturday night. You didn't go to see. I'm going to see Ozzy Osbourne Saturday night. I'm going to see Ozzy Saturday night. So it's kind of how it's going to be. I'm also going to do Tenet. I've been speaking to Jed and Glenn Alvarez, and he was talking to Byron Stroud. For those of you guys who don't know, in 2009, I did an album with 3 of the 4 strapping young lad guys. It didn't have Devin Townsend in it. It was Gene Hoglan, Byron Stroud, Jed Simon, and Glenn Alvarez, who played on the Forbidden Evil record. Also did a couple records with Testament, right?
Yes.
And so, and some tours. So we did this record. The band is called Tenet, Tenet, and the album's called Sovereign. Came out in 2009. We've never played a show for that band ever. And so now, talking to the guys, we were like, well, we should resurrect this. And again, in the same faction, because those guys are in the same mentality I am. I don't necessarily want to hit this 100 yards. I'll do a couple shows here or there. I'll do Milwaukee Metal Fest. I'll do this. I don't know if I want to take it to Europe because that's more moving parts over there depending, but we'll see, and then see what happens with it. And then again, I'll continue to do AC/DC. I love the AC/DC. I love singing those songs. I get to be Bon Scott for an hour and 20 minutes or 1670 songs, however we do it. And so
I've heard that that's a growing thing in Europe right now. Are cover bands
tribute bands.
Tribute
well,
and
again,
cover.
If my tribute band, and you've been there a million times, really captures the essence of that era that you'll never see again.
You're not trying to do it different.
I emulate what they did then. I try to make my voice so match Bon Scott. I really concentrate on it. I think Dave Chapman, who plays Angus in my band, who's been Angus there forever, does the Angus part just so much justice. Go on YouTube. We have our live concert. You can stream there, right?
Right.
Well, it's ACDZ, and you can stream it and check it out. That's a lot of fun. So, I'm not going to be out of music 100%. I'm just not, like you said, going from a 5-week tour home for 8 days and then back out on a 6-week tour, then home for 14 days and then back out on another. I don't want to live that life anymore. I don't want to do that again. I'm making all of the fans and everybody else's lives happy, and I'm being miserable in that amount of time.
Why don't you tell these guys what you've been doing lately?
Oh, well, actually, I think we're going to do a whole episode on that. Well, I think we're going to
coming up. That's a good one.
We're going to do a whole episode on what I do around my house. So, but this episode was pretty much getting up on current events. Also, what legacy, Testament, Exodus songs do you guys want to hear? Okay, and the first person to comment in
on the YouTube channel's comments.
And what's the code going to be, Walt?
You're going to make it up,
You're
right?
going to make it up.
How about 008?
Okay, 008. And if you do, we are going to send you Death Wish Coffee prize pack and some other kind of stuff. And that's
It's a thermos.
As we're talking through the episodes, we're going to say something, and we may have a code which keeps you enticed to watch the whole episodes, because we're going to give away stuff through the whole episode. So if you heard that and you chime in, whoever the first one is, you get it.
008 in a comment, and you can just put horns up or whatever.
And we'll send you something. I don't know if it's going to what it's going to be. We'll send you something, probably a Death Wish coffee.
We have one of those.
We have signed
something new this year
Zetros,
also.
Trading cards from back in the day.
I'm going to get them to sign a card, and
we'll have some stuff like that. So just trying to get you guys
mail them out.
And it was so. Again, let me know. Always share this with people. Always, leave me comments. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. But we wanted to do that. I wanted to get over that with that. So I think, and so we wanted to do some current events now. Walter, you guys, a lot of you know, some of you may not have known, lived with Chuck, Billy, and Tiffany for over 20 years.
Yes, but I usually don't talk about that.
I don't care what you talk about. It's my show. Anyway, so Walter, that's why I'm leading into this, Walt. Walter's privy to going on tour with Testament and doing some certain things with Testament that, other people don't get to do. So leading into that, they're out on the road right now. They're out doing Practice What You Preach in its entirety.
So anyway, Chuck and Eric called me up and said, hey, we need some video clips for Instagram and some marketing that's coming up and some commercials, and we're rehearsing. So I went out to the pre-rehearsals and I did some of that, and Chuck liked it, some commercials. So then he says, hey, come out with us, and we'll do the final rehearsal, come out, and then we'll go and do a couple shows and a few days off, it turned out to be. So it turned out to be like a week with them all together. And it was kind of neat because they know me so well that I can just float in between them. So if they're on stage, I'm not like a fly. Well, I am a fly, but they just put up with it. So they put up with this. They put up with me, but it kind of gives for an intimate look at them while they're playing. And
okay, so let's get to the point. How's the tour going? Let's talk about the set, the songs.
Yes, and it's an evening with Testament. There's nobody opening. It goes from 8 o'clock. It starts. The doors are at 7. The show starts at 8, and it's over by 10 o'clock. And they go through a whole Practice What You Preach set. And then
that's what they open with.
Yes, they play the album in its entirety, and then they go into some acoustic sets that they haven't played in years, and there's a few of them, and then they go into some old classic hits from the early days, and like First Strike and Into the Pit, and that's how they end it. It's a great look into them because they stop and they tell stories. Sometimes Alex talks, Eric talks a little, Chuck talks about the time and during that time and how they haven't played these songs in a long time and what they mean. So it's an insightful night if you get a chance to see it. It's on tour right now till May 25th. And I'm flying back out to see the last show in San Diego. As a YouTube channel I have, it has all of that on there.
Okay, so cool. So some kind of stuff has been happening in the news lately. Talk about the Ghost record. Well,
okay, well,
I like Ghost.
Good.
I like Ghost.
Ghost becomes the first hard rock band in 4 years.
Heavy metal. Gotta say metal. They're metal band to me.
Well, we don't know if that's the case then. What I'm saying, a lot know Ghost, but may not know Tobias Forge. Is that true? What do you think?
What was that?
A lot of people know Ghost, but they don't know who Tobias Forge is.
Probably.
And that's the singer, and of course
that's the brainchild.
Right, and everyone else.
Tobias.
Okay.
The Ghost is Tobias. Ghost is Tobias.
Oh, that's kind of cool. And in the news lately too, since Van Halen kind of left with Eddie gone, now David Lee Roth played his first show in more than 5 years at the M3 Rockfest, which kind of ties into your career path that you may do things and are planning on doing things later on. I thought, which leads into another interesting story. Rush, Alex Lifeson, Metallica was in Toronto, and Kirk and Rob went out to dinner with them, and then they went over to his house, and for 3 hours, the three of them jammed. And he said it was pretty magical, and they went to some places that were just unbelievable.
Wow.
But, and in the same tone, we could say that Metallica is so big that they're talking about Hetfield also went to go visit a horse named Sandman ahead of the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, he didn't win, though. I think he came in 7th.
I think he gave him the curse.
Kentucky Derby.
That's right.
Don't you like my set today? Well,
it's different. I came in.
It's Evel Knievel. It's evil.
Very 70s, right? Well, that was a big...
Everybody...
didn't he die recently?
No, recently. He's been dead for a while.
Okay.
Anyway, I love
the
my
son
toys as a kid. The son died recently.
Okay.
I love my toys. I love them. And I kept them. So these are all toys that I played with as a kid. This still works. You just wind it up and jumps through the motorcycle. I had the scramble van, and there's Evil sitting right there. He's in bad shape right now, but this is probably
what you opened at Christmas or something?
Yes, this stuff was my Christmas presents. 53 years old, probably. This is probably Christmas 1972, 73, something like that. So just kind of cool like that. So I kind of like having my toys. I kept my toys, and I played with my toys,
and we're going to keep switching it up, you said, right?
Have toys. So we got one more story before we leave you guys.
It's a sad story because, people that we know and musicians, they pass away. It's part of our life. As you get older, life's not guaranteed. But recently, Brian Montana, 60 years old, original guitar player from Possessed, was killed in a barrage of gunfire in South San Francisco last week. So it's sad. And
can we get the story on that, Walt? Because we were talking before. You seem to know what went on. What happened?
I heard that he had a dispute about some leaves and his some landscaping done and some mess that was left on his side, and he threatened his next door neighbor, and he actually landed up firing into the dwelling. Police were called, and he didn't stop there. He continued to maybe be suicide by police, because anybody that's firing at the police knows they're going to eventually die. So maybe he wasn't in the right mental state either. We don't know, but it's actually South San Francisco, which is right between that and the airport, like San Bruno area. But anyway, sad, but that goes back in history, and maybe we'll give away something in his honor. How about a Possessed code?
Something else. What's the next code? Well, it's Possessed. You got to go 666.
All right. So if you comment on the first person on a separate post than the other code that we gave, if you give the 666 and say anything,
you'll win something.
You'll win something that he's going to handpick, and it'll be cool.
Can't win twice though.
Yeah. You can Death Wish Coffee, sign something from me. We got a bunch of prizes here, so I just want to keep you guys interactive. Also, Before we go, we do have the P.O. Box, which Tim will put right there. What's the P.O. Box, Walt?
P.O. Box 352, Sonoma, California, 95476.
If you'd like to send your toys and see toys sitting here, that's what I'm going to do.
And actually, someone said that they are. They wrote and said that they are sending in some toys, so I can hardly wait to get those.
And if you send stuff like that, you'll probably get a prize pack as well, because I'm pretty generous with that stuff. And I do appreciate all of you guys that have stuck with me through thick and thin and have stuck with the show. And so I just want to show my appreciation for all you guys.
Yeah,
so
more giveaways this year, huh?
Definitely more giveaways. I got a bunch of stuff to give away.
The email.
So we have a new email. What is our email?
Zetro's toxicvault@gmail.com.
Ooh, that was Tim, the producer, so you probably heard that.
It's going to be written right here.
Definitely, yeah, it will definitely be written right there.
And some more work, again, right here.
If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Share this with people and leave comments, because then Walter and we could have
we read them. Yes.
We need to get the comments,
and that's how you win the prizes.
We'll do a whole episode full of just comments, and I'll talk about it. But through the episodes, we're going to give you numbers as we're going to keep doing that, and we'll send you stuff.
I thought this was a good one, right?
So,
this is a good win.
Yeah, good. So,
you know what I mean?
So, and then Walter will get a hold of you and get your address too after, because you'll have to go off of that.
Right.
So,
and that's true. And
then we'll just be more of that. So, for myself and Walter Morgan, thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next time on Zetro's Toxic Vault.
You want it all.